Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the CFP Board's Business Update webinar. I'm Neal Van Zutphen. I'm pleased to be the moderator for today's event. For those of you who don't know me, I'm born and raised in the Phoenix, Arizona area. I've been a CFP practitioner since 1987, and recently I just finished hiking the Grand Canyon. Today
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's a fabulous trip. Sorry you guys are suffering through all this terrible weather here. It's 70 degrees and sunny. Anyway, today we'll hear updates from the latest Board of Directors meeting. We'll take a look at the CFP Board's overarching outcomes with its strategic plan focused on awareness, growth, recognition, regulation, and authority, or they're referring to it as AGRA. And we'll also be addressing questions from the audience. But before we get started, I want to cover a few technical details about this event. If you run into issues with the audio for this presentation, or it seems like the slides are out of sync, try refreshing your webinar console. To do that, on a PC, press F5. If you're a Mac user, Command R. You'll see a Q&A function on your screen that you can use at any time during the program to submit your questions. We'll try to address all of those questions as possible through the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. If we don't get to those questions during the course of that, we will follow up with you a little bit later. We have a lot of great information to share with you today, and we intend to have plenty of time to answer your questions. Joining me today on today's panel is Rich Rojeck, 2015 Chair of the Board of Directors, Mike Greene, Chair-Elect for the Board of Directors, and Kevin Keller, CFP Board's CEO. We just had another fun chat as we got together. I know, it was fun. Thank you all for joining us. We are broadcasting live from Scottsdale, Arizona, where the Board of Directors just finished up their most recent meeting. Rich, you're up first. What updates can you share about the meeting?
Well, Neal, we met the past few days for our third and final in-person meeting of the year 2015. As usual, our November board meetings, we held elections for new board directors who will start their terms this coming January. In the next week or so, we'll have a formal announcement about the incoming directors and about the election of our 2016 chair-elect. We had a great slate of candidates for the board again this year, and we appreciate everyone who submitted an application to CFP Board. We also spent a good part of this meeting discussing where we're at with our overarching goals in light of the current state of the financial planning profession and the financial services industry at large. The board adopted a set of overarching goals that we call AGRA back in 2012. Each outcome is related closely to CFP Board's mission, and they have given focus to our work over the past few years and a strategic plan for the next several years looking forward. So let me run briefly through each of the four outcomes. The first is awareness, and includes our public awareness of CFP certification, but also awareness within the financial services industry and among policymakers and thought leaders. The second is growth, which is growth in the number of CFP professionals and growing the diversity amongst the ranks of those professionals. Thirdly, recognition and regulation, which relates to our long-term goals to see financial planners recognized and regulated as a bona fide profession. And then finally, authority, which is another key way that CFP Board advances its mission to benefit the public. Under our authority goal, we seek to advance the body of knowledge for the financial planning profession and build the capacity of the profession, meaning the ranks of the CFP professionals. Our goal is that financial planning is seen as a separate, rigorous discipline supported by academic research for the benefit of the public, professionals, and educators. Further, with regards to the authority outcome, CFP Board has played an important role, I think, in establishing and developing the profession's body of knowledge through setting the curriculum for CFP certification and the topic coverage of the CFP exam. Both of those are updated regularly through our job task analysis study, which is the oldest and largest research project in the U.S. related to the body of knowledge for financial planning. But we need to do more to enhance the body of knowledge. We envision an academic home that would include a peer-reviewed journal to showcase and publish new research. which in turn can help academics gain tenure and raise the standing of our academic partners at their institutions. Building the capacity of the profession is equally important. It's imperative that we cultivate the next generation of financial planners, especially given that so many of our CFP professionals are nearing their own retirement. And we all know there's a need to foster greater diversity in the financial planning profession so that we better reflect the American public we serve. We've taken some steps in recent years to begin to address these workforce development needs, including establishing a career center and launching our women's initiative. But we need to do more to fulfill our core mission to benefit the public. That's why CFP Board is launching the CFP Board Center for Financial Planning. Through the center, CFP Board seeks to further its mission to benefit the public by creating a more diverse and sustainable supply of financial planners and by creating an academic home to build the body of knowledge to serve the public. We've had teams working behind the scenes over the past couple years to assess the feasibility of such a center, exploring initial areas of focus for the center, and laying the groundwork on setting up a center that will be sustainable in the long term. Later this month, we will officially launch the center and share more details about its mission and structure, how it will further the mission of CFP Board in ways that everyone in the profession can benefit from and get involved with this important resource. We'll be hosting an event to launch the Center for Financial Planning on Wednesday, November 18th. The event will be in New York City, and we will be streaming a live webcast of the event and posting a recorded video after the event. We'll introduce the Center and its lead founding sponsor. There will also be some great panel discussions that will kick off the Center's work around workforce development and diversity and around the academic home and the body of knowledge. We're all very much looking forward to sharing more about this important new initiative for the financial planning profession, and we hope that everyone will join us, or as many as possible certainly will join us for the live event.
Wow, that's fantastic. Rich, just curious, will CE credits be available through the
That's a great question, Neal. I'm sure one that was on everybody's mind. I'm disappointed to tell you no, not this time around.
Well, I'll look forward to hearing more about it as the program progresses. Mike, I know the CFP Board has been working to address the profession's need for growth. Can you tell us about what CFP Board is doing in this area and where the outcome of growth stands on the CFP Board's 2016 priorities?
Yeah, I sure will. Thanks, Neal. The Board's discussions around growth have been focused on the concept of growth with integrity. We're working to increase growth in ways that keep a focus on strength and relevance of the certification. Our goal is to ensure that CFP certification is the must-have designation for those who are providing and those who are receiving financial advice. Now, we've enjoyed steady growth over the years, yet CFP professionals make up only about 20% of the total number of financial advisors, according to most recent data from Cerulli. Now, there are two key issues for CFP Board's future that are directly linked to our mission to benefit the public by granting and upholding the CFP certification as a standard of excellence. That's our mission. You'll find that on our website. One is the total number of CFPs. Second is diversity. So as Rich mentioned, the demographics of the profession, they don't reflect the diversity of the public we serve. And secondly, we need to make sure there's a supply of CFP professionals to meet the growing demand for competent and ethical financial planning. That's why growth was a top priority for us in 2015 and will continue to be a top priority for CFP Board into 16. Now, this bucket of work you could call our workforce development. We've got that and diversity. And because workforce development and diversity are priorities for us across the financial services industry, our work to grow the number of CFP professionals benefits from collaborative work. We really do this with three specific groups. One, we work with our education partners to encourage enrollment and retention as they continue their pursuit of CFP certification. Second, we work with firms to institutionalize CFP certification so that we encourage and support CFP professionals and integrate financial planning into their service delivery models. And 3, we work with our professional membership organizations so that CFP professionals have access to continuing education and professional development. One of our newer initiatives, Neal, that I'm very excited about is the CFP Board Career Center. It's one of several important steps that we've taken to encourage growth and help increase the capacity of the planning profession. Now, we know it's historically been challenging for prospective CFP professionals to gain the professional experience that they need as part of the certification process. Our new Career Center, and really it's not even been available yet for a year, it provides future CFP professionals with internships and job opportunities that contribute to that professional development, help them stay on the path to gain certification. It also helps provide a bridge the gap, if you will, between firms looking for talent and those who are seeking to enter the profession or further their careers. This is something then that provides benefits to the public, to employers, and to job seekers. The statistics are pretty amazing. So far this year, we've had more than 100,000 unique visitors to the career site. Remember, this isn't even a year old yet. We've got 900 employer accounts and close to 1,000 jobs that are posted out there right now. More than 5,700 people have registered as job seekers, and of those, about 1,100 have posted resumes that are searchable for employers with our active job listings. We've held a number of webinars on important issues for job seekers as well as employers. So if your firm is looking for new talent, I encourage you, please take advantage of these Career Center resources. We hope you'll mention the CFP Board Career Center to your colleagues and acquaintances who may be looking for a new job or seeking new talent for their own firms. So Kevin, I understand the Career Center is currently offering free internship listings. I'm excited about this. And we're holding a webinar on November 19th so that people can get guidance on best practices for their firms so they can use this resource to develop successful internship programs.
You know, Mike, absolutely. We are doing free internships, and this is a time to be thinking about it. So for those firms that are thinking about bringing an intern in, if you're waiting till February, March, the interns, the college students all have already committed. You know, there's another factoid that we talked about at today's board meeting, and that was the fact that the average age of the CFP professional is now under 50 for the first time since I've been here 8.5 years. So, you know, I think we're bringing more people into the profession. It's down almost 3 years. The average age is down almost 3 years. So I think that's an important fact and bodes well for financial planning and the financial planning profession.
I think that's right on, Kevin, and it really reflects the growth that we've had in our CFP programs at the undergraduate level. Now, if anyone's got questions about how to use the Career Center, you can reach out to the manager, Lisa Andrews, and you can see her information right there on the screen.
You know, I just want to pop in here if I could. Dr. Lisa Andrews is a great resource. She's available to help you with career counseling. That's her specialty. That's what her PhD is in, counseling. She's available to help you with your resume, give advice, and so she's there as a real resource to CFP professionals who may want to chat with a independent third-party person with complete confidentiality.
Kevin, how about the individual practitioner like myself with a very small firm? Is she able to help give us some guidance if we were bringing in an intern?
Absolutely. So she's there, and we have materials that she can provide to you, but absolutely, she's there to. We're really trying to build that bridge from the academic programs, the traditional degree programs and other programs, to practice so that people can get the experience they need to become certified.
What a resource. I just think about, you know, as I think about the value of CFP certification, it never had really dawned on me that this could be part of my career development as well in this specific way. So a bit ago, Neal, I mentioned diversity. So total number and diversity. when we're thinking about workforce development. So when we now think about where we go, what we want is we want our CFP professionals to get involved with what I think is one of our most exciting new initiatives, and it's our women's initiative. It's taking action on the findings of our most recent research. It's really groundbreaking research that helps us understand why, and this is one of those factoids that I'm not particularly proud of right now, and it's that just 23% of our CFP professionals are women. We've got some work to do here. And this is what I love. Our white paper, it outlines specific action steps that we can all take to help us grow the number of women in our profession. So far, hundreds of people have signed up to support the initiative, more than 200 CFP professionals who've agreed to serve as WIN advocates. Now, they're taking advantage of our advocate toolkit so that they can communicate to their own networks why financial planning is a great career for women. And this is a long-term initiative. We're still in the very early phases, but we've seen some important successes already. So our WIN advocates, they've got access to the toolkit so that they can hold events for elementary, for high school, for college students, so that we can help get people interested in financial planning careers. If you're interested, so for those folks on the phone, the webinar today, if you're interested in our women's initiative, please visit the website. That's www.cfp.net/win, so that you can complete our short form indicating your interest, and I know that the staff will reach out to you.
Great. Thanks, Mike. It's great to see so much energy around developing the next generation. The population is so huge, we don't have enough of us around to take care of everybody. So it's important to grow our profession. I think that's just outstanding. I'm also excited about the Center for Financial Planning's focus on the workspace developments. Kevin, you're up. Can you fill us in on what's happening at CFP Board's public awareness campaign with that DJ?
Yeah, with the DJ, indeed. You know, the public awareness campaign started back in 2011, and we continue to be very pleased with the progress. The campaign is taking a coordinated approach to reach our target market, which we call the Mass Affluent Initiator. And we do that through a combination of both paid advertising, like the DJ ad that you see, and what we call earned media activities. So that would be the public relations activities. The campaign includes a mix of advertising on national cable channels, in print publications, online, and then national radio. In 2014, we introduced that DJ ad that you mentioned, as well as radio sponsorship messages on national public radio. In 2015, we added some other new creative, including print and online ads that feature extreme sports and hobbies. These ads featured people who choose hobbies which may put them in danger. And while they may do that for fun, the ads make very clear that they do not take the same approach for their finances. You see these images here. The banner, the copy reads, "Trust my future to a financial planner who isn't certified. I'd have to be crazy. Don't leave your finances to just anyone. Work with the highest standard, a CFP professional." All of the ads take you to our consumer website, which is letsmakeaplan.org, which encourages visitors to seek out and work with a CFP professional. And the campaign's paid advertising is supported by our earned media initiatives, including the important work done by our consumer advocate and our CFP board ambassadors, of which there are 50, and Neal, you're one of those 50, so we appreciate your support.
My pleasure.
Measuring the success of the campaign is of utmost importance to us. It's important to the board of directors. In fact, when we launched before we even launched the campaign, I'll share with you that the board asked, how are we going to measure it? And, you know, from the beginning, the goal of the campaign has been to increase awareness We have engage an independent brand tracking firm that measured before the campaign started, and then each year we continue to track that. Now in 2013, the brand tracking study showed that the campaign had already exceeded in just 2 years the 4-year goal. And our 2015 brand tracking study showed that we continued to make great progress in growing the awareness of CFP certification. We saw continued growth in what we call unaided awareness of the target market, with a 4% increase in 2015 over 2014. And if you'll notice, from the time we launched the campaign back in 2011, we have doubled the unaided awareness of our target market. The latest brand tracking study also found that awareness of CFP certification is 2 to 3 times higher than any other financial planning designations. We are steadily closing the gap between awareness of CFP certification and awareness of the CPA as a provider of financial planning services. And in addition to increased awareness, the CFP certification brand is strengthening among consumers as well. The study found significant increases in positive attitudes about the CFP certification, especially in regards to several key brand attributes that we think are important, like familiarity, uniqueness, likelihood to recommend to a friend, and quality. These qualities are significant, especially when we think about our overall campaign objectives, which are to raise awareness of, the preference for, and the intent to use a CFP professional. Looking forward, we're focusing our attention on how to leverage the increased awareness we've generated through the campaign to get consumers to take the next step, which is to use the Find a CFP Professional tool.
So Kevin, as the campaign continues in 2016, what kind of changes might we see?
You know, we're tweaking the campaign all the time, and we're always looking for ways to maximize the effectiveness. The campaign, as you all know, is funded by the CFP certificant community. We're spending about $10 million a year. That is less than 0.5% of all of the money spent by banks, brokerages, and insurance companies on retail clients. So we have a very small budget, and yet we've had what I think are great results. We're finalizing the 2016 plan. We will continue to use the DJ ad at least one more year. The campaign on TV with the DJ ad will likely start after the new year and run through at least April 15th and Tax Day, and we're working on other creative media as well. You see here some of the 2015 plan, which included placements, on the air, online, in print. The strategy is updated annually based on what works particularly well. We focused more on broadcast this year, so TV and national radio as well. We're on networks like Fox News, MSNBC, National Geographic. For radio, we had messaging on ESPN. Rich, where are we on ESPN on radio?
Mike in the morning.
So it must be on your drive-in in the morning.
That's right. Depending upon your time zone, you'll catch it maybe in your drive-in or sometime in the morning.
So, as we finalize the plans for 2016, we'll be back in touch with you about them. And you can, again, I recommend that you take a look at the Public Awareness Campaign Toolkit on our website for the latest news about the campaign, and also for material that you can use on your own website. This year, the toolkit was updated with new black and white ads in a number of different sizes. You'll also find our advertising schedule. You'll find the TV schedule when our ad is running and where it's running. Work is ongoing to develop new toolkit materials at all times to help CFP professionals, because we want to help you if you're so inclined to leverage the campaign's effectiveness.
Great. Well, I certainly knew the program was working when I started having prospective calls asking if I worked on a fiduciary standard. So I know there's been some great results from it. Thanks for the update on that, Kevin. So I believe we've covered 3 of the 4 AGRA outcomes, but before we jump into questions from our audience, Rich, can you give us an update on the 4th outcome, which is recognition and regulation?
Neal, I'd be happy to. Recognition and regulation of financial planners is a long-term goal for CFP Board, and one we share with our partners in the Financial Planning Coalition, which, in addition to, of course, CFP Board, consists of the Financial Planning Association and NAPA, National Association for Personal Financial Advisors. This year, CFP Board has been focused on 2 strategies that integrate our recognition and regulation outcome with our growth strategy, or growth with integrity priority. Our certification strategy has a goal of differentiating CFP certification as the highest standard for financial planners, for seekers and providers, and reinforcing CFP certification as the must-have designation. So to achieve that, we are conducting a comprehensive comparison of the financial services designation on FINRA's website based on objective criteria. We hope to use this as the basis for a consumer-friendly tool that allows the public to evaluate and compare financial services designations, and for conversations with firms about their policies regarding use of various designations. Another strategy, which we're calling our enforcement strategy, is to encourage regulators to use existing authority, meaning it's already on the books, authority and regulations to address consumer harm caused by unqualified or unethical, quote-unquote, financial planners. We want regulators to utilize their current authority to bring enforcement actions for misrepresentations and omissions, such as advertising but not actually providing financial planning services. And we want regulators to enforce existing laws related to financial planners, such as regulations against the use of misleading designations that are targeted to seniors. We want to do what we can to ensure that those holding out to the public as financial planners are qualified and ethical. We have also been busy with our partners in the Financial Planning Coalition, again, the FPA and NAPA, to advocate for positions that benefit the public in delivery of financial planning services. A lot of energy this year has gone into our continuing advocacy in support of the delivery of financial advice under a fiduciary standard. So in July, we filed a joint comment letter with FPA and NAPA, again, part of the coalition, voicing strong support for the Department of Labor's re-proposed rule to amend the definition of fiduciary advice under ERISA with proposed changes to streamline the rule and make it more operational across business models. So in other words, we're supportive of the proposal, the DOL's proposal, but had suggestions about how to enhance it to make it more operational or practical to implement. In August, representatives from the coalition provided testimony in support of the re-proposed rule during a hearing held by the DOL. And then in September, the coalition filed a supplemental comment letter with the DOL addressing some issues raised in the comments and urging the DOL to move forward with their fiduciary rulemaking and the proposed changes. CFP Board has been a strong advocate for fiduciary-level financial advice, and we support the DOL's proposed rule given the many ways it will benefit and protect Americans saving for retirement. We have expressed concerns about a number of things, as I mentioned, and proposed changes to them, including but not limited to changes to facilitate compliance across different business models and to streamline some of the disclosure and reporting obligations outlined in the DOL's proposal. We also indicated our concern that the proposed implementation timeline was too short and recommended that an extension of the implementation date and additional time for full enforcement of the new provisions would be appropriate. DOL has indicated that it plans to release a final rule in the first half of 2016, and we certainly look forward to sharing more updates as things progress with the DOL's re-proposed rule.
Great. Thanks, Rich. We've covered a lot of material this afternoon. Let's turn the program over to questions and answers from listeners who have submitted. And we've got a few that were sent in advance, so you guys will have to pick out which one you want to answer. But Jerry writes, one suggestion to improve the quality of the CFP marks recognition is to stop running the con man disc jockey ad. It is demeaning and it implies the CFP professional can be likened to no one smarter than such a person. I have worked too long to earn my CFP certification, and my clients respect to be compared to a disc jockey acting like a professional advisor. Gentlemen?
Well, why don't I field that one? So, Jerry, we're certainly sorry to hear that you don't like the ad, and when we do we call them certificate connections, our town hall meetings, we probably do a dozen across the country every year. We hear from certificates, and I will tell you that anecdotally, probably 90% in the audience love the ads, particularly when we share the efficacy, meaning the effectiveness of those raising the unaided awareness from 17 to 34%. But there are certainly those that perhaps like you aren't crazy about them. The message is intended to be pretty simple in the ad, which is you can't judge a book by its cover. So look for the CFP mark to ensure you are working with the highest standard. Well, we certainly hope every CFP professional would like the creative. What is important in the end is whether consumers are getting the message. And, as I previously mentioned and we previously shared today, our consumer research shows that indeed consumers are getting that message.
Okay. David writes, I love the ad and on a whim went to the Let's Make a Plan site and could never find my own information. Why isn't my information listed?
Okay, so I'll take this one.
All right, Mike, this is up to you.
All right, so obviously the other side of the coin here, David, I'm really glad to hear that you like the ads. We didn't want to have consumers reaching out to CFP professionals who aren't interested in working with them. That's not a good experience. So we limit the listings right now through our Find a CFP Professional tool to those CFP certificates who've signed up and indicated they're looking for new clients. So you can sign up through your CFP Board online account. You go in, you log in, and you look for Update Search Profile. If that doesn't make any sense, you're having problems with that, not a problem. There's a 1-800 number for help, okay? It's 800-487-1497. That's our stakeholder services line. It's 800-487-1497, and there's somebody who can walk you right through that process to update your profile.
Great. Some of us older guys might be a little technologically challenged, so we can appreciate the help. Elliot asks, what are you doing with the additional fees you've been collecting from everybody?
Well, that's a toss-up. Kevin, you want to take it, or I can take it if you'd like?
You can take it. I'll fill in.
Okay, you fill in. Okay, so we addressed the great progress of our public awareness campaign, along the way in this seminar or webinar, and that campaign is funded with the increased certification fees that went into effect back in 2011, and that was actually in response to the feedback that we were getting in those town hall meetings that our certificates were saying, we want you to do more to raise the awareness of the CFP certification in the minds of the consumer, our potential clients. And so there, in our assessment, we did some polling amongst certificates back then. 90% said we think you ought to go forward with that. 80% said if we had to pay for it in order to make it a reality, we will. And north of 70% said we like that $145 number. We tested it. So that's basically what we had. We took the certification fee, divided in half, $360 became $180, and we added the $145, so that's how you get the $325 per year. So $145 of it goes to the public awareness campaign. So that's essentially how we're spending the money. You can do the math. If you take 145 times 72, now nearly 73,000 certificates, you get an amount approaching $11 million, which is what our spend is. And it's explicitly directed towards the public awareness campaign. which, as Kevin mentioned, it's less than 0.5% of the spend within the financial services industry, but it's having an outsized effect, we think, by raising the public awareness, the unaided awareness over the few short years from 17 to 34%. So that's kind of the rationale behind it.
All right, thanks, Rich. Michael writes, I have seen the ads on TV, very professional. How are information requests distributed to CFP practitioners throughout the nation when inquiries are made to CFP Board?
So, Michael, the way the search tool works on our website is there is a contact function that allows consumers to select and contact individual CFP professionals directly through the search tool. So distribution of the inquiries is self-selected by the consumer. Our search tool sends the CFP professional an email with the consumer's contact information and the message they enter into the search tool. You know, I would, for the CFP professionals, for those of you listening, if you receive a request, and I know you would, but, you know, please get back right away. And if you, as I know many of you do, if you receive an unsolicited call from a potential client, ask them where they found the information to see if they found it through our search tool. We also appreciate it if you let us know when one of these contact requests generates a new client for you. We love to hear the good news.
Well, it's a great measure of how the plan is working, too. So, okay, another question that came in is, how can we best leverage our designation and the board's marketing efforts to improve our standing with clients and prospects? David writes that.
Neil, I'll take that. So the best thing that you, as an individual CFP professional, can do is to display the CFP board marks proudly and make sure you mention your CFP certification prominently in your marketing materials and discussions with your clients. More and more consumers are looking specifically for professionals with CFP certification, and it's up to you to make sure they recognize you as a CFP professional. One thing I might add is that the campaign toolkit to which we have been referring is available at cfp.net /toolkit. So you can actually make use of those on your own website or your own marketing collateral, which will reinforce the campaign's message and, you know, branding and so forth. So that would be another thing you could do.
Great. John asks, are members of the CFP Board Administration CFP professionals?
I'll take that one, Neil.
Okay, Mike.
So I'm going to bucket this into two areas. So there's the CFP Board staff in Washington, D.C., and other areas, but primarily centered there. The short answer is yes. They do have professionals, and we've got them in positions that can take advantage of the expertise gained through CFP certification. Second bucket, the board itself. And as chair of the nominating committee this year, it's a thing that I hold near and dear because we really want to make sure that we have a great balance on the board. And currently we have 8 members who are CFP certificates on the board, and we want to make sure that we maintain that. In fact, it's part of our bylaws that we do. So we take the certification seriously for those who are providing advice to clients every day, and we want to make sure that the people who are overseeing have that certification as well. Kevin, you've got something?
Yeah, no, I would add a third bucket, and that is the people who volunteer for CFP Board. We, in 2015, will have over 200 people, not including the WIN ambassadors. We'll have over 200 volunteers that are serving on our hearing panel, our council on education, our examination council, the vast majority of whom are CFP professionals.
It matters a great deal as practitioners. We want to know that we're being represented by those that are in the trenches. That's great. Angie asks, are there ways to volunteer with CFP Board that don't require year-long commitments?
Absolutely, and volunteers are really the heart of what we do at CFP Board and so important. So there are a number of opportunities. related to development of questions for the CFP exam. So for those of you who wonder how the exam gets created, we're always looking for what we call item writers. You'll learn that it's a lot harder than you might think it is to write a good exam question. And then we have periodic opportunities for individuals to volunteer with our Disciplinary and Ethics Commission. So these would be individuals who would come in for one set of hearings specifically to sit and hear of potential violations of our standards of professional conduct.
All right. Okay, let's see what else we got up here on the what is the CFP Board doing to increase diversity in the CFP Board of Directors, mainly to add more women and minorities into CFP leadership roles?
Well, I guess that's probably for me then, isn't it?
The nominating committee.
Mike, I think you're up.
So you heard me talk a little bit earlier about how passionate I am about increasing diversity, not only at the CFP Board level, but also among the professional community itself. So we have a really exhaustive process for vetting our nominees. This year we had more than 50 people self-nominate to become a director on the board. And we work our way through a very deliberate process where we conduct phone interviews, we conduct a second interview, then we do face-to-face interviews. So through that nomination process, we're actively seeking women professionals, but not just women. We're also looking to make sure that the ethnic or racial diversity of the board more closely reflects what's going on. So we have work to do, but we're making steady progress to seek out people who will apply to be on the board, and then as we work through that process, make sure that we have highly qualified board members. And we're not at gender equality yet, but we're on our way, and we're making steady progress with each additional class. And when we look at how the turnover works, give or take about 4 members each year will change out, and so we try to manage that so that we have stability at the board, but we also can bring new people in. So if somebody's on the phone and thinks they have the experience, the leadership, the background to be a great board director, or if they know someone who is, please have them participate in our nomination process, and we make that available every single year and notify the entire community.
You know, Mike, I would add to that to answer this question that my direction to the executive leadership team, who has responsibility for the volunteer group that can be an important feeder to the board of directors, it's not necessary, but it can be, is to look for diverse both gender, racial diversity, age diversity. So we're looking to do better. We're not as good as we might be, but it's an important consideration when we're selecting new volunteers.
It's good to know that the focus is there. Someone else sends in, I'm not quite sure which one it is. It looks like Manny. Diversity of people I work with is another factor. Specifically, potential clients many times state they do not have funds for investments, but have an array of other financial questions. How do we raise an awareness that CFP is not only, scroll up, for investments, that there's a lot more to what we do as personal financial planners than just portfolio management?
So, well, let me see if I can field that. So I think that is addressed on a number of levels. Obviously, we did talk about our public awareness. By definition, we do need to be very focused in our message. So we don't admittedly talk about the breadth of planning issues there, but other materials. And I think to a large extent it relies upon the CFP professional to be telling the story, and ultimately that story will get out. But clearly it's a battle that we're currently waging because the thinking is that it's all just simply about investment planning.
Yeah. Okay. We definitely need to a way to find a way to expand that scope of the perception or the narrative of what we do.
No question about it.
Let's see, Whalen writes, as a CFP, I am concerned about the Department of Labor's IRA proposal and the many onerous disclosures and additional regulation that will be required. We must disclose all fees, but the CFP board has not fought very hard to improve the DOL's proposal and make it workable. Anybody?
You know, I'll take that one. In fact, we've been working. We understand this issue about disclosure, and so again, maybe let's just back up on the DOL a little, because look, it's a controversial. There are passionate people on both sides. So let's start there and say that, you know, from the DOL, the rulemaking we think is consistent with the vision of CFP Board. Our very existence contemplates a world where the public values financial planning and benefits from professionals adhering to a fiduciary standard. So we started there. It's also consistent with our long-standing policy of support for the delivery of financial advice at a fiduciary standard. So we were very much involved with Section 913 of the Dodd-Frank Act and worked to make sure that that was there. We supported the rule, and yet, as Rich said, there were some important provisions that we thought needed to be changed, and one of those was the disclosure of information. So, you know, we have heard from the DOL. They have stated publicly that they are working to streamline some of the disclosures and reporting requirements. We feel good about that. We won't know, of course, until the final rule is out, but they have stated publicly that they're working to make the rule more operational. They've stated that publicly that they will make clarifications regarding the difference between education and advice, which we know is another area that's of great importance, and then these disclosure and reporting requirements.
Well, we'll have to see what comes out of it. Being that we want to grow the number of CFPs, are the requirements for becoming a CFP getting easier? I understand the test is not as long as it once was.
I'll take that one. You're right. It's 6 hours long. But one of the things, and I'll share a little insight into how the test goes together. It used to have 235 questions. It's now shorter because it's not 10 hours. But the Council on Examinations that assembles the test, they're using the same item bank. In other words, we have the same bank of questions that we always had. And each of those questions, we have very specific statistics about those questions. So for each question that appears on the exam, we know how many people got that question right and how many people got that question wrong. So when the exam, which necessarily had to happen in order to go to computer-based testing, when the exam shortened, the Council on Examinations wanted to be sure that the questions asked were good differentiators of people who knew the information and those that don't. So, for example, some questions almost everybody got right. And occasionally in the longer form of the exam, Neal, we left those questions in. It was almost like a gimme. Here's one that everybody will get right. Knowing that we have fewer questions to assess folks, those questions now aren't included in the testing, so it's really the harder questions. Now, we have the equators in there that we have a way, and through the science of testing and the psychometricians, to make sure that, you know, one test isn't harder than the other, but we have really good questions, really good items there that distinguish between people who know the material and those who don't. So the short answer after all of that is the exam is not getting easier.
So a pass-fail rate would be another indication of whether or not the test is any easier or harder to get done.
It could be, and yet the pass rate is in the high 60s at this point. It has eased up, but a couple of things I think are important to know there. First of all, the pass rate started creeping up in 2012. Now, do you remember what happened in 2012? No.
I don't. It's so long ago.
It's so long ago. Well, we put the capstone course requirement. We had never had an obligation for people to have actually demonstrated their ability to synthesize and apply the information and create a plan and communicate it. We also now have practice exams available for CFP candidates, and so those are available. And the exam's a little bit shorter, but trust me, the questions are it's the same bank of questions, if not the harder of those in the item bank.
Okay, great. Let's see here. Another question now from Tom is, any updates on changing the CE requirements? Apparently suggested changes were proposed a year or so ago, but likely met with a lot of criticism. Any changes in that area?
So I have a little historical context. Yes, so that was actually a proposal that came through our council on examination, I guess. Education, excuse me. And that maybe it was time to increase the number from 30 hours every 2 years to something greater. So we actually reached out to our CFP certificants and asked for their feedback on a proposal to increase it to a greater number, but potentially to maybe include other things that wouldn't just simply be professional items, but maybe pro bono, or in other words, get credit for pro bono work or other things. The great feedback that we got, overwhelming, and there was a lot of people responded, was we have no interest in having to satisfy additional hours, more hours, given all the other continuing education hours that we may have associated with our broker-dealer or corporation employer. So the feedback that we got in addition to that was, we want you to focus on the quality. So we've had a commitment to quality initiative going over the last 3 years or so, and we started with the CE, which of course would say is the essence of this, with the ethics, which is the essence of the CE process. So all of the CE standards are being increased in terms of what the provider has to offer, in terms of what the course objectives are, outlines, and so forth. And so that's basically where we're at, and we ultimately have a goal where our standard, if you will, would be what the CPA, what the AICPA requires, that all of the courses are reviewed by a professional, and that they will be of the highest quality. So it's a work in process, and we're moving it forward each year.
Great. Let's see here. Bill asks, again, going back to CFP candidates, is the experience requirement still under review between the 3 years and I guess there's a 2-year mark, and under different conditions? So
I'll take a quick. I just happen to know Bill Moran. He and I worked together for years. So Bill, thanks for the question.
He's throwing you a softball.
There we go. So for those of you who don't know, the experience requirement has been 3 years for quite some time. One of the things we wanted to make sure that we did was continue to make it a really attractive proposal for those entering the career to continue their work towards getting the marks completely. And so we put a very, very specific thing in. As we added the capstone course, as we thought about what was going on with the exams, then we said, for those who are entering the career, if they work as an apprentice, if you will, under the direct supervision of a practicing CFP professional, we can back that requirement down to 2 years, knowing that what they're doing is actively working to provide financial advice for clients. And so it's very, very, I call it intensive. Now, we did another thing as well. We started also backing up and realizing that CFP professionals aren't just those who are daily working on financial planning services for a client. We said there are many people involved in the process of providing financial planning services, and we re-looked at the experience that would qualify. And so there are many people who are working inside a firm who might be in the planning department, who might be in the supervisory department, and we wanted to make sure that their experience, although it might be discounted, that it also would be qualifying for the purposes of getting to the 3 years. Kevin, is there anything you would add to that?
No, I think you hit it all. It's a very limited 2-year exception. You have to, as you said, be working under, as we would say, the tutelage of a CFP, and practicing all 6 steps, I think, is another component, because we count credit toward experience in a lot of different ways. And the board felt at the time when they added that 2-year requirement that 2 years practicing all 6 steps of the financial planning process was equally, if not more valuable than 3 years maybe doing one particular component.
I think that's a real distinction for the 2-year program, is that they have to be able to complete all of the steps in process, including the prospecting, interviewing, and everything else. We ran into that problem with the junior planner at our firm.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, it's another year. So talk more about how you partner with the FPA, just because we're running out of time. But
So briefly, we've talked about the Financial Planning Coalition. The coalition consists of the FPA, NAPFA, and of course CFP Board. We have 2 in-person meetings a year. We have monthly conference calls, and we work together on matters that we think are important to strengthening the marks, which both those membership associations support the CFP marks, and the profession in general. We very much appreciate what FPA did to recognize the 30th anniversary of the CFP Board at their recent FPAB meeting in Boston, and so there are a number of ways that we participate with, and very much appreciate the support of those associations. Kevin, did you?
Yeah, I'd add just 2 other things. We work very closely on financial planning days. This is a program to provide no strings attached pro bono financial advice. We work closely with the chapters and the Foundation for Financial Planning. And then along with Ameriprise, CFP Board, and FPA sponsor the Financial Planning Challenge, which is a way to recognize outstanding CFP Board registered educational programs. And so Lauren and I have a monthly Lauren Shadle, their CEO, we have regular call. The leaders have calls, our policy people have calls. So it's a very close, and we value the role they play, and we value their position as the Association for Financial Professionals.
Neal, would you mind if I just add one quick comment on that, because I am a member of FPA.
I'm a member of FPA.
So I think one of the great things that's going on now is that we're recognizing there is an incredible need for professional organizations, what they do to provide continuing education, community, the work that's done at the local level for both NAPFA as well as FPA. That's incredibly valuable. And at the same time, we need a very strong certification body. So we've got one that's setting standards and another that's helping grow this profession, and having both arms working together, hand in hand, it's incredibly important. And I feel like both groups, NAPFA, FPA as membership organizations, CFP Board as the certifying body, we understand who we are and how to work together. And I see just nothing but strengthening of that partnership.
Yeah. Well, critically going forward, that's going to be a major important role, both from the succession planning point of view for planning firms, as well as the profession as a whole. We have one question, a little time left for one last question. Tiffany writes, do we have rights to use the extreme ads highlighted, and if so, where can we access those?
Tiffany, the answer is yes, and it is all of the materials for the campaign are available on our website, cfp.net/toolkit.
All right. Okay, so we are out of time. Rich, what parting thoughts would you like to share?
Well, certainly I want to thank everyone for joining us for today's webinar. And Neal, special thanks to you for contributing to our webinar today and for the good work you're doing as our CFP Board Ambassador in Phoenix, the Valley of the Sun, as we call it. As I wrap up my year as Chair of the Board of Directors, I'm very pleased at where CFP Board and the profession are headed. This year, as I mentioned, we celebrated the 30th anniversary of CFP Board's creation and also celebrated the 15th anniversary of FPA's creation from the merger of 2 predecessor membership organizations. Together, we've accomplished much. and we are working together to address the challenges and the opportunities before us. CFP's certifications standing as the recognized standard for financial planning is something we achieved together, and we appreciate everyone's ongoing support. For those of you interested in contributing to the profession, I encourage you to get involved with CFP Board and the other organizations that support the profession. There are many talented and dedicated people working together toward shared goals, and it is rewarding to be part of this work.
Neal, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to thank Rich personally. As my mentor coming into leadership next year, I'd like to thank him for his work this year. And maybe more importantly, it's just acknowledge that Rich has been in this profession for decades as a practitioner, as a leader of practitioners, then as a leader of the early professional organizations, and now as a leader of our certifying body. That's a lifetime of service to this burgeoning profession. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Rich.
So we've got a lot of important initiatives that are underway, and I want to encourage everyone to stay connected, and that's by reading what comes out from CFP Board, or participating in calls, our Certificate Connections events. Please attend when they come to your community. Get in touch with us so that you can contribute. Kevin talked about all of the volunteers, the hundreds of volunteers. That's how this organization works. And if you've got new ideas, please get them, bring them forward so that we can help continue to build our mission. Remember, we can't do this mission without the collaboration and support of the entire community, and we appreciate very much the time and energy each one of you has put into that.
You know, and I'd like to thank both Rich and Mike and the entire board of directors. I've been in organizational management for 31 years, working with various not-for-profits, and since coming to CFP Board, I've never had so many talented, dedicated, passionate volunteers at the board level, at all levels. So it's great to be a part of an organization that's taking such a strategic and forward-thinking approach, and we look forward to the coming years.
Great. Well, thank you all for sharing the update on CFP Board's work, and to everyone for joining us today's webinar. A recording of this presentation will be posted to CFP Board's website within the next week, and CFP Board will follow up with those who asked questions and we didn't get time to address them all. In the end, have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you all.